Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video we're going to be picking up where we left off from the last video. We're going to be redoing the step notch, cleaning up all the old parts, painting the frame. We're getting back the links from powder coating, VNA coatings, and we're going to do the final assembly on this whole rear end, and then the owner's going to come by to come check it out. So let's get right into it. Alright guys, well welcome back to the channel. We're back at it again on the build. Today I'm finally now, after cleaning up the whole floor, the shop mess that I had with the dust that I cleaned up from the frame, now I am ready to start getting ready to cut up the old C-notch. I'm going to brace it up, make sure it's level or semi-level, but for now I'm going to go ahead and just kind of mark off where the patches for the links go. These I might leave loose on that rear link until I can get the whole rear end assembled, and then I'll tack those in place. But yeah, we're just about ready to go ahead and start redoing this step notch. So I'm going to get to cutting up some tubing to get ready to brace everything up and get ready to just chop it off. Hopefully I can get this knocked out tonight, and this weekend I should be able to get all the links that's powder coated back to me, and hopefully by Sunday I'm hoping to have this whole rear end put together. So yeah, I'm gonna get this started on this and get the bracing everything up. So let's get started on this thing and start finishing up this rear end.
Hey, Shay, gonna go easy, bro.
Hop out the whip and you know that I spin. They gotta get it cause you know that I win. Fuck with your haters, ain't no need your pen. Stacking money way to touching the ceiling. Not worry about when I'm gonna go beat it. Talking about killing you pussies ain't winning. Just go and burn up my check up, cause you know when I'm coming, I'm next up. Thinking we're bros, counting my dough. Fucking my best for your blast in your dome. How you think I'ma go speed? It ain't even from the beginning. Coming at me cause you know that I win. Can't even show you your bitches and pig. Wanting the gun, then I'm picking the fist up. Wanna try me cause you know that I'm next up. Got you got all of me ballin' the picture. She fucking on me while she done. Left you on red, don't get it twisted, I'd rather get red. Talking about how many I heard what you said. Nigga, you be on the pity shit, planning a plot.
Alright, well, after a whole fucking 3.5 can't even talk. Alright, so there we have it. We have the whole notch cut out, stripped down, cleaned up. What a fucking pain in the ass. I didn't realize that this thing was so fucking thick, at least the bolt-on one. And then it still had the other step notch on top of it. This is like 3/8 inch thick. So that was a fucking pain in the ass. I went through like 15 cutoff wheels and 2 grinding discs. And I actually ran out of cutoff wheels, and the last section right here I had to do it with just a regular grinding pad like that. And it took me about 30 minutes just to grind that side down. So beat up. This whole deal took about 3.5 hours to cut out, and it's all ready, stripped, and ready to throw in the new step notch. But this will have to be for the next day because it's already getting kind of late. Don't want to upset the neighbors. So we'll pick this back up the following day and get started on the new step notch. Okay, I got all my mess cleaned up and I got the notches cut out. So I think right now I'm gonna go ahead and weld these up, get those done, and then we'll set them up on the frame and get it ready to start cutting the bottom halves and lining it up and burning those in. So you've already seen me do that before, so I'll go ahead and start welding these up.
Body
You wanna fuck with me? I leave your body steady dripping, got a soul tempting. The joy you're killing, got the devil, know he come with me. The gates of hell, I suck the souls, you know I'm not left in. I feel my fear, your angel coming, wanna fuck with me. Now hit it, now hit it. I'm fucking on her till she bleeding, turning on her own God, you know she be sinning. And selling herself onto me, cause you know I be dealing. Now come and get it when you want it, now that you a heathen. I'm thinking all my demons, cause it's all I know, ho. Trying to make me better, but the evil's all I know, ho. Bring it to your number, you won't make it, cause I will show. Come and hate, fucking fate, if you fucking let me get this shit. I'm about to get this dough, we about to flip this bitch. I'm about to get your dough, we about to get this shit. I'm about to get this dough, we about to flip this bitch. I'm about to kick your dough. We throwing bodies in the graveyard. I don't give a fuck, bitch, you wanna play hard. Your bitch be fucking me all night, that's why I stay hard. I got that sniper rifle, bitch, I'm about to aim far. I'm taking off. You wanna play with me? You motherfuckers wanna play with me? So sit somebody.
Alright, well, we got the frame pretty much squared up as level as I can get with it being on jack stands and all that, but it's pretty much compared to the rest of the frame. It's sitting exactly how it's supposed to be. It's all tacked in on this side, so I'm about ready to start welding it in. So I will see you guys when it's
Banging and
all
smashing
ready.
like somebody was trying to make a hole in the wall. So Ruthie called 911 and she said there's somebody coming through the wall. And they didn't believe her. They thought the lady was crazy.
Look into my eyes, tell me what you motherfuckers see. Coming out the grave, I'm looking for another murder spree. Talking to my demons, cause they understand me. Stabbed in my back till I dropped to my knees, so I'm looking for the way out. Tied the noose up in my tree. It's a cleaner way than having me bleed. I only think about it cause I'm trying to set my soul free. Fuck what you think cause you don't even know. Bustin' in the dough, now slice to the dough. Keep a smile on my face, everybody turns cold. Niggas should have great.
Alright, well, we got the whole notch welded in. Now right now I'm working on shortening down this bar for the coilovers. Yeah, so I'm going to do the tubing up there with the little tabs. I got to make sure I weld those on before I, or slip those onto the tubing before I actually tack it in or weld it in, because then I'll forget. So these got to go onto this one. And what I'm going to do to kind of give us a little bit more reinforcement is I'm going to get some of the flat plate that I have around here somewhere and kind of make a little plate that goes back here, kind of to reinforce this area a little bit more. I'm actually going to have to take that off, the other side of the panhard bar bracket. I'm going to have to cut these tacks off because this is going to have to be moved over, because sitting right out there I have the powder coated links. Now, as I mentioned before in the previous video, the panhard bar was actually needed to be shortened because of where I put this bracket right there. So I made the mistake of sending them before I got that panhard bar shortened. So what I'm gonna have to do is just move the other end of the panhard bar bracket just farther over, so the whole link fits complete, so I don't have to shorten it, and get it recoated. So that's what I'm going to work on now, is shortening this, putting these tabs into place, kind of just to set them into place, because I won't tack those in until I can get the rear end back under it. Once I get that bar in place, I'll tack in the tabs for the coilover, and then I'm going to figure out what I'm going to be able to do up here in the front, so we can do that sheet metal work. All right, well, what is going on, guys? We're back on the build today. And then I finished on the last video, you saw me finish up welding up this cross member, the tabs, and then I don't remember if I had all this on camera, but I welded these like reinforcement plates on the inside on both sides. So now I'm to the point where we're actually almost done with the heavy stuff on the frame. What I'm going to be working on now is I need to set the truck back on its suspension. I'm going to have to go and start rebuilding the links and put all the bushings back in it, and then put all the links up on the suspension. I need to break the welds on this bracket for the panhard bar, the tacks that I had, and I need to cut this and relocate it because this is going to have to move over kind of like to right in here somewhere. So I'm going to get to putting the links back together, putting the bushings in it, sliding it back under the truck, and hopefully tonight at least get the tabs for the panhard bar welded in, which is sitting right over here. These deals. In order to do that, what I need to do is put the coils and stuff on it and set the weight of the truck on the rear suspension. That way the weight is on it whenever I go to set the center of the panhard bar, because you don't want to do it with the technically like the weight off of the truck, because when you put the weight on it, if it's at an angle, when it comes and settles, it's going to push the axle one way or another, either whichever way you have the link set up. So I'm going to go ahead and get to assembling these links and the coilovers, set the axle in place, and we'll see how far we can get on this tonight, and hopefully weld that little bracket in. And then as soon as we get that done, I'm actually gonna be starting on doing some sort of sheet metal work in here around the coils and around the notch. So that's what that metal is over there for. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started on these and start assembling these links. All right, well, we're getting closer and closer. I didn't take video of me like aligning the panhard bar, but this is already in and fully welded. So the tabs are there. Now I'm working on welding that last one. And after that, I'm pretty much done with like the main welding. So I'm gonna get right now to finally welding that in. And then I'm gonna put the other coil back in, set it back on the jack stands with the suspension loaded. And then I'll come back whenever we're trying to figure out what we're gonna do with all this right here. Now, today what I was working on, I didn't initially start recording, but I ended up drawing out the cover that I'm gonna be doing for the notch. No, I'm not the type of guy that can easily draw what I'm visualizing for some reason. I can't always exactly write it down, but I can see it. I don't know, it's weird, but I gave it a go this time. And this is pretty much what I had drew up. Kind of just did some rough estimates. I mean, it's not going to be perfect, but that's pretty much kind of the idea that I'm going with. Obviously, in like these are going to be cutouts, and these circles are going to be cut out. In those, I'm going to be doing that mesh that I have, but that's kind of the basic idea of what I'm trying to do. So, being that my bender can only fit so wide of a sheet metal, I can't do exactly the whole thing as one piece. I'm gonna have to do it in halves. So that's why I have a left and a right. So if you can kind of see it right there. This is the left-hand side. So you would be looking at it like that. And then this is the right-hand side. And it would be like that. So I just took my time and kind of just got the rough measurements for where I need to cut for the coilovers, and just to like put that mesh in between so you can kind of see in there. You can see that red from the powder coating. I'm gonna go ahead and just take this to work tomorrow, and we'll see how this comes out. I mean, hopefully, luckily I have another piece. If I need to redo it, I can redo it, but this is pretty much hopefully what we can cut out, and hopefully it comes out as I was hoping. All right, so back from work, and as you can see now, I have these all nicely cut up. And now what I'm about to do is bring them over to my brake over here. Gonna set it up on the brake, and start making my bends on this. Hopefully it all comes out as planned. Gonna bend both of them, and then these are the mesh pieces that are gonna go on the back side. So you will be able to see through the notch. So nothing's going right here. This one's, I believe the one that goes on the back. This is gonna go like somewhere right in here. So you still will be able to see through it. So I'm gonna get the bending these. Hopefully I don't mess this up. And I'll see how this comes out. All right, so I got my pieces bent right here, and luckily I got pretty close with the bends on them because I completely forgot to take measurements of the angles, and now it's not sitting right where it's supposed to be, but you kind of get the idea of where it's going. And then, as I mentioned before, this is the piece that's going to go back behind the notch right there. So kind of something like that. So you, like I said, you can still see the powder coated links in there. So now my next thing is I'm going to try to figure out how I'm going to bend some tubing. I thought I had some small tubing. Yeah, here we go. But this might be a little bit too big. 3/4 inch square tubing. So I'm trying to figure something out with that to kind of give us some more strength, because I'm going to tack these behind it to kind of hold everything together. But I'm not sure if that's going to be enough. So yeah, so the only thing now I'm going to do is kind of just go ahead and start setting it up over here on my table. And I'm going to start like tacking everything together little by little, and figuring out some sort of bracing to go back here. So hopefully I can figure something out tonight, because tonight I'm in charge. Well, I've been in charge of the kids, but they're out here with me today. So gonna figure something out, and we'll see how we're gonna brace this thing. All right, well, got this pretty much tacked up. Now I think I was gonna try to grind it with the grinder that I have, but I think it's gonna be way too aggressive. So I'm gonna save this to grind down at work. So next thing, we've already got the truck covered up, ready to actually just spray the frame and the axle with some rust-oleum performance spray paint. So we're gonna get ready to paint this up and get it ready to finish up. Everything is pretty much welded on both the frame and the axle. So we're gonna focus on this first, get this painted, let this set overnight, and then tomorrow I'll be able to finally do the final assembly on it, get everything buttoned up, put back together, and it should be able to drive again. I'll kind of just give it a quick test drive in the neighborhood, see how it rides, and then after that we can get to finally working on the bed notch and repairing this bedside. So we're gonna, okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead now and start painting this down. First thing I'm gonna do is mask off the disc brakes with some aluminum foil, whatever I did with it, sitting over there. So I'm gonna cover that up and then fog the whole axle. All right, well, I got the whole frame all nicely fogged up with some of that rust-oleum paint, all nice and sparkly. Got the differential also touched up, looking a little spicy. Well, it looks spicy once we put those links into it, but we are ready to put the differential back under the truck. We're gonna do that next and pretty much start doing the final assembly on the differential, put everything back together, set the wheels in place possibly, and then first thing I gotta do before putting the differential in there is I need to take the fuel tank and clean it up before I actually put it back up under the truck. Otherwise, with the axle in there, it's gonna be a little bit difficult just because the truck is sitting so low. So we're gonna take a few minutes here and clean up the fuel tank, because we don't wanna put that dirty fuel tank back under this clean chassis. So I'm gonna do that real quick, and then we'll pick this back up whenever I'm ready to put this differential back up under the truck. All right, so we got pretty much everything on the frame nicely painted and put back together. Clean tank looks brand spanking new. since I took the time to clean it. I got all the fuel lines and the harness put back on. I ended up rewrapping the loom back in with some electrical tape, just because it was all dirty. Didn't look really good once I put it back on the frame. I cleaned the fuel neck because it was all caked on with like sand and dirt and mud. So got that cleaned up and ran all the wiring harness, got it tied down. This is the hose for the vent on the differential. And I also got the differential sprayed. However, I forgot to put the brake calipers and the hoses back on. So I ended up, after I had done painted the differential, I ended up going back and putting on the brake caliper, because that was also dirty. Even though I kind of cleaned it off with a rag, it was still kind of dirty. I didn't like how it came out, so I ended up painting that too. I was gonna paint it red to kind of give it a little, see, I did miss a spot right there because I kind of ran out of paint last night, but I was gonna paint them red just to kind of match the truck. But then that would look kind of weird because the front wouldn't be painted, because he does want to eventually go with some bigger brakes on this in the back. So for now, I think we're going to be just going to leave them black. So now today, I'm ready to put the differential back up under the truck, start doing the final assembly on the links. So that's going to be the plan for today. Probably going to put it on the time lapse because it's going to take me quite a while. I should have recorded everything that I did yesterday, but had several things going on. So after I had painted the frame, I kind of waited for it to dry and I went and got dinner. So left to do that. And it just ran back and forth. So that would have taken me a little bit longer trying to move the camera around to get everything recorded. So I kind of skipped that process last night. And I'm going to try to get some more video today of doing the final assembly on this rear end. So actually I should probably go get some more paint to kind of touch up that brake caliper that I'm missing paint on. And yeah, that's what we're going to be doing today. Well, we finally got the whole rear end all buttoned up, nice and clean. And this is what we got. Went ahead and tightened everything down. We put all the Zerk fittings in. Now, I don't know if you could tell on the video, but initially I did have this link where that Zerk fitting was pointing up, because I had this one pointing down, this one pointing up. I don't know, for some reason. But I came to realize that I was going to be right by the bed, so there would be no access to connect to that Zerk fitting so you can grease it. So I ended up on both sides undoing the top link and flipping it upside down. So this side, you can get to it from the bottom. And pretty much everything else is all tightened up. It's all ready to go. But now I actually am now going to attempt to start it. Hopefully I connected everything and everything is working. And hopefully I don't short anything in the fuel pump. And fingers crossed. Gonna turn it off, turn it back on. Gonna tell my brother to park on the other side, because I'm probably gonna take it out in a second. Okay, now I'll prime the fuel pump. Gonna do one more time. I do hear the fuel pump working, so that's a good sign. Here we go. And we are good to go. She's working. It's alive! Working. Good. All right, so now I'm gonna pull it out and take some pictures of it outside. All right, so right now I'm just waiting for Johnny to show up. He's getting ready to come over here and check out the progress on his truck. So it looks like it's about to have a little downpour, so hopefully it doesn't rain, because I don't want to get it wet. So we have to move it inside, but he's pretty much going to come over and get his reaction on the progress so far on the link kit. But that's all pretty much done. Now what I am working on next, well, right now what I'm working on is moving stuff out of the way, but I'm going to be working on the bed itself next and working on getting the notch put in, the notch cover, and then we'll have to repair the bedside. And now he's actually got a little something coming for the tailgate. I'm not going to say what it is because it is going to be pretty sweet, something I haven't done yet. So I'm not going to say what it is just yet, but it is going to be pretty sweet. So, oh, and alongside with that, I still have to do the little bitty tubs on the front end of the truck, on the fenders. So yeah, we're just waiting for him to show up. Right now, like I said, I'm working on moving my stuff around. I moved my weight rack over here, and then I moved my little workbench, my fabrication table over here, because it is closer to my wall plugs for my welder. When I had it over there, I had to use my little makeshift extension, and it was still barely reach even with the length of the gun on the welder. So I'm gonna work on making a permanent fabrication table with some of the cheap tubing that I have over there somewhere, and making my own fabrication table right over here somewhere. So I'm gonna work on that after we probably either finish Johnny's truck or after I get back from my little vacation. So right now, just gonna be waiting on Johnny, see when he shows up, and watching out for this rain. Sin miedo, güey. Don't be scared. All right, let me know what you think.
Shit, dude, I don't even know what to say, dude. This is badass. This is clean ass work, dude. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't expect it to turn out like this at all.
Yeah.
At all. This is clean, dude.
Yeah, so right now I still haven't adjusted the bed because I need or the coils because I need to put the weight of the bed on it, just to kind of adjust the right height. But I think it's sitting right where it's need to be.
Oh, like on estaba antes?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So that's the only thing I still haven't worked on, and then I gotta go get a grease gun to go ahead and finish greasing up.
The fitting?
Yeah, grease up the fittings. Yeah, but everything is lined up. I mean, I took it around here and around the neighborhood. Yeah, it rode pretty good. It's not. It doesn't have that same stiff ride. You know how like when you have the leaf springs to the back, you feel like a little bit stiff. It's a lot softer with these.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so that's definitely a whole lot better ride than what I had before. Yeah. Yeah, and everything worked out good.